Josh Donaldson, Toronto wins again, a walk-off shot. The Blue Jays and Royals, best record in the American League. They are tied with 1 week to go. It looks like a World Series already in Toronto. The white towels are waving, shirts are being ripped off. That's just the start of baseball tonight. Baseball tonight is presented by Chevrolet. What a game we have for you tonight. What a night it is in Chicago. Holy cow, are they looking forward to some October baseball. They're looking forward to perhaps climbing above the Pirates, getting home field advantage in the wild card if they can get it. Otherwise, they're going to go to Pittsburgh the way things are shaping up. Cub fans have been on board all year long, and they've kept adding weapons to their arsenal, like Kyle Schwarber. He's part of the middle of that lineup that's just dynamite. Josh Harrison of the Pirates, they're after their 96th win to match their 92 teams' 96 wins. Andrew McCutchen's ready, so is Riz. Anthony Rizzo is signing some autographs with his 30 homers and 95 runs batted in. We'll get you out to Chicago here from Buster Olney in just a couple of minutes. Jake Arrieta goes for the Cy Young, goes for his 21st win tonight. Last time he pitched on Sunday night, he had a
no-hitter.
No-hitter. Tim Kruk is here. Aaron Boone, he was really good that night. We'd like to start with this playoff race, but there was some crazy stuff that went on with the team that a lot of people figured was going to get into the postseason and won't. These Washington Nationals. Bryce Harper pops this one up, jogs to first as he goes back to the dugout. Jonathan Papelbon is there. You can see he mouthed something about running it out, and then he kept running his mouth. And Harper and Papelbon would go toe-to-toe, and it would end up with Papelbon choking Bryce Harper, sending him back into the bench in the dugout, and those two had to be separated. You don't see that very much, if at all. We saw it today, and here's what they said after.
You know, first of all, I'd say, you know, I'm in the wrong there. You know, I've got to leave that up to our manager. And, you know, there's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of it's a long season, it's a grind. And, you know, I think we're going to handle that in-house and stuff like that. But I think, you know, I've talked to Bryce and told him how we feel, and we're on the same page now, which is good. And squash this and head to tomorrow's game. And you know, it's I grew up with brothers. He grew up with brothers. I view him as a brother of mine. And you know, sometimes in this game there's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of intensity that spills over, and I think that happened today, and you know, for me, I can't allow that to happen in the middle of a game. You can handle that after the games, or allow the manager to handle that. So, you know, in that light of it, I'm wrong.
Papelbon said he was wrong. It's the first thing he said. I was wrong. Did he say that to you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he apologized, so, you know, whatever. I really don't care. I mean, it's the next 6 days, and, you know, keep doing what I'm doing. You know, it's like brothers fighting. You know, that's what happens, and, you know, hopefully move forward and do what I can for the next 6 days to, you know, have some fun and play the game.
You fought with your brother before, but have you ever fought with a teammate?
Usually fighting the other team.
So if you didn't hear it at the end, he was asked about being a brother and fighting your brother. He said, used to fighting the other team, meaning I don't usually fight with my brothers. All right, Aaron, so what did you take from so many of the things that were said and what you saw?
Well, first of all, I think Jonathan Papelbon's wrong for saying I should have handled this behind closed doors, because I don't think there was anything to handle in this situation. There have been times where Bryce Harper hasn't run. This, to me, was not one of them. A shallow pop-up to left field where you're not going to be able to get to second base anyway. Eventually he did, ran, stopped at first base. That's all he was going to be able to get to. Now, secondly, you've got the perfect cocktail of events here. You've got the Nationals, who are a World Series contender before the year, right? And now the disappointment, the letdown of expectations. Papelbon, a great reliever, comes over, and by no fault of his own, by the way, the bullpen is a disaster, really, in the second half of the season. Now, a few days ago, he hits Machado, who Harper, I think, probably takes exception with, because he feels like he's going to be retaliated against. And now all of a sudden you got the frustration of a long game here in September. He makes an out, and here we go. But That's where I come down on it.
Right. If somebody is going to speak to Bryce Harper there, it should either be the manager or a respected veteran player on the team, not a guy who showed up on July 31st and is a pitcher as opposed to an everyday player. And since Papelbon showed up, and this is not all his fault, obviously, they've gone from 3 games ahead, basically, to 9.5 behind. If I were Jonathan Papelbon, I wouldn't say a word to anyone, especially after being involved in an incident with Manny Machado. They got him suspended, even though he's appealing here. So this is a case where the wrong person spoke up, and certainly at the wrong place and the wrong time.
Yeah, he said we're on the same page. Clearly, Harper's words after indicate they're not close to the same page, and it wouldn't surprise most people if they told Papelbon not to show up for the rest of the season. Let's get the thoughts of John Kruk, who joins us now from Chicago. Krucky, what were your thoughts on what you saw and heard?
Well, I agree with what both Aaron and Tim said. I think Bryce Harper's not at fault here. Look, Bryce is a very emotional player. We all know that. And the last thing you want to hear when you miss a pitch you think you should have hit, and believe me, he's hit enough of them this year to know, the last thing you want to hear is anyone saying anything to you about the way you played or the way you participated in that at bat as far as not hustling. The really last thing you want to hear is from a relief pitcher, because those are the last guys that should say anything to anyone. Now, if it's Mariano Rivera, a Goose Gossage, someone like that, okay, you live with what they say and you move on. But not a guy like Jonathan Papelbon and not any other reliever to my knowledge. Bryce Harper, you know, look, I understand the frustration of the Washington Nationals. Yes, they should be in the playoffs. They were the World Series favorites going into the season, and it's been a disaster of a season. But no fault to Bryce Harper. And to me, you know, Jonathan Papelbon's lucky that people got in between him, because that's one strong young man that he was tussling with. And I think if they let him go, we might have saw one of the guys wear number 34, the young one, getting a little bit ahead of Jonathan Papelbon in that dispute.
There's no doubt, though, John, that there was one guy who was the aggressor in this whole thing. Papelbon looked at him, spoke to him, and then continued to move towards him, and then he choked him. You don't allow teammates to choke each other, let alone in front of everybody else. So is there now some reaction from the Nationals, their front office?
I think the frustration with Jonathan Papelbon has to be at an all-time high right now. You know, you mentioned the deal with the Baltimore Orioles and him throwing at Machado and eventually hitting Manny Machado, getting suspended, appealing, and now this. Yeah, they have to be frustrated with everything that's happened in this past week, with Papelbon. And, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they said, look, you just go down the bullpen and stay down there, and if we need you, we'll need you. And if you get suspended, accept it and let's move on. Right. Yeah, you know, the last thing you want, Carl, is one of your guys who probably – after next season, he won't be a Washington National anymore, is to mess with your best player. Right. And to start incidents and fights with your best player. Because, like I said, Bryce is a powerful young man. Papelbon's a big guy, too, but I'm taking Bryce in that one. But, you don't mess with your franchise. And Jonathan Papelbon crossed the line when he messed with the franchise. If it was Ryan Zimmerman who went over quietly and said, hey, Bryce, come on, man, we need a little better effort, that's one thing. But to call him out with the cameras on you and the way he did it, in a loud vocal way, from what it appears on watching it on tape, it's just ridiculous. It needs to stop.
All right, John, enjoy the game tonight. Back to you guys, Aaron and Tim, to kind of put a bow on this thing. You just don't choke people. You don't do it.
No, and I think he's in the wrong. I don't think it was that egregious what he did, but I think the bigger point in all of this is now take a look at the Washington Nationals and some of the guys, significant parts they're going to lose, the disaster that has become this bullpen in the second half of the season. We're talking about a franchise that we view as a yearly contender for a world championship that may be going through blowing this thing up completely and semi-starting over, because they got a lot of problems in there to fix.
And the manager, has to do more than this is an in-house issue when everyone can see one player choking another. We're going to need more from the manager after the game than just that. And I don't understand how Papelbon pitches the ninth inning there after choking a player on his own team. And don't tell me he's the closer on the team. When they were eliminated yesterday, you have all sorts of other guys in the bullpen. I'm not sure I follow that either.
All right, that's the story from Washington. Much more, ESPN.com, SportsCenter as well. Meantime, our series and our game tonight is a big one. Pirates and the Cubs go over this series, and it has been outstanding. Pittsburgh has managed to survive and survive and survive. Garrett Cole was outstanding. Melanson gets 2 strikeouts. One on Soler, one on Baez on Friday. You can see their emotion. They win that game by a score of 3-2 as Cole gave up just an earned run. Lester pitched a very good game that night as well. And then yesterday, Jordy Mercer, for all the woe is me with the Jung Ho Gong injury, season ending, they do show that they are deep. And boy, they have certainly been impressive, and they have impressed many other teams, including their opponents. Buster Olney joins us. How about the way the Pirates are received by other teams?
Oh, other people with other teams absolutely love watching the Pirates play. In talking with executives of other teams in the last week, they believe the Pirates right now are the best team in baseball. Now, starting on September 15th, Carl, they began a stretch of games when they essentially face a gauntlet of all-star pitchers. They lost a game started by John Lester, and they lost a game started by Jake Arrieta, and then to Zach Greinke. But then the next day, they beat Clayton Kershaw. They took a series in Los Angeles. They swept 4 games in Colorado. They took the first 2 games in this series. So this Pittsburgh Pirate team has now won 8 straight games. And I asked some of the Pirates players, how do you do that? How do you work through that type of stretch? And they told me some words that Clint Hurdle says to them all the time. Shower it off, meaning at the end of every day, good or bad, just focus on the next day's game. Pirates have been able to focus on winning of late. Well, the Pittsburgh Pirates have been going through a tremendous stretch with their team, with a lot of offense, Carl. People with other teams have been raving about how they've handled things after that incident with Jun Ho Kang, their shortstop. If you recall, Chris Coughlin slid into second base. Kang was out at that point for the rest of the season. Now, in talking with people within the Pirates organization, they weren't wild about what took place, but they also fully understood that if they retaliated in that situation, they haven't against Coughlin, then at some point there probably was going to have a situation in which their center fielder, their MVP, Andrew McCutchen, was going to be hit. And they felt like, you know what, it's just not worth it. They veered around that because they're trying to win. And as of tonight, just 2 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals in the loss column in the National League Central.
That's right. Cardinals lose today. We'll show you that in just a little bit. And back to the Chicago Cubs. By the way, the whole idea of showering it off at the end of the day, whether you're playing a game or not, that's a good idea from Clint Hurdle. I think we all benefit from showering it off. The Cubs had a shower off, a celebration yesterday, even though they lost. Talk about that, Buster.
Well, yeah, they lost on Friday and they lost on Saturday, but Joe Maddon, the Cubs manager, told us that going into the game on Saturday, they had told the players, look, win or lose today, we're going to celebrate. Joe Maddon wanted to get that out of the way. And after they won the game, or lost the game on Saturday, they went absolutely nuts. They celebrated here, and they went down to a nearby bar that was rented out by John Lester. And players tell me that everyone from Theo Epstein, the team president, down to the guys in the clubhouse who were there, and they felt like it was a great celebration for this team. Now, tonight, Jake Arrieta starts for the Cubs under unusual circumstances because, as you know, it's very possible that Arrieta could be pitching against the Pirates in the wild card game just 10 days from now. We asked Joe Maddon about the possibility of bypassing Arrieta tonight, pushing him back so the Pirates wouldn't get another look at him. His response was, you know what, I don't think that makes that much of a difference. When I asked Francisco Cervelli, the Pirates catcher, about that, about whether he'd want to get another look at him, he said, look, this guy's the nastiest pitcher in the National League. No one wants to face him. He said, you got to give him credit. He's really good, and so are we.
He has been absolutely outstanding. And again, pitching for Cy Young, win 21, and another perhaps Sunday night no-hitter. Buster will talk with Jake Arrieta. You'll hear that interview in just a little bit. Thanks, Buster. Meantime, you mentioned it. The St. Louis Cardinals, they were in action, and things didn't go well for them. Of course, Molina is out. He's hurt. Trevor Rosenthal looking for save 48. They have not lost a game in which they've led after 8 all year.
Right, and the only team that was unbeaten with a lead into the 9th inning, and they lost today.
Rosenthal wild there. Hits Martin Maldonado 2 on. Next batter, Peterson, who you saw, Shane Peterson, get a single. This one gets by. Michael Reed goes to second, and now second and third. Later in the at-bat, Jonathan Lucroy walks, so Rosenthal's in a midi meltdown.
Well, and he's, look, the usages this year are up. He's had a lot of work, and at times in this final month of the season, we've seen him struggle with his command, which has been an issue for him in the past. Not this year, but tonight didn't have Yadier Molina to work his way through with him, and it got away from him.
Jason Rogers, pinch hit, grand slam, not done doing the yard work. Chris Davis with 2 on. The Brewers rally. Don't kid yourself. They were watching this game in the Pittsburgh clubhouse today, and Mike Matheny knows that too. This is big.
Tough way to lose that one. You know, it's a shame. I know we had high hopes of finishing the regular season here at home differently, and you know, it's a tough way to end it. But you know, just one of those days, and it's unfortunate, the timing of it. And you know, we talk about how much every game means, and this is one of those that hurts.
Take a look at the current standings. They're brought to you by Mobile One. It just gets no better than the top two in the National League Central, with a 3-game series between these two teams starting tomorrow night on ESPN. It's the Cardinals and Pirates separated now by 2 games. 3 games set. Pittsburgh has a chance to, by sweeping it, take over first place in the National League Central. If they can do that and hang on, they render St. Louis a wild card team, and they likely would have to deal with Jake Arrieta. Pittsburgh loses Gong. Cardinals seemingly never lose. Now all of a sudden it feels like the momentum is clearly in Pittsburgh's favor.
Well, you talked about with the Jordy Mercer home run. All of a sudden, this team, the Pirates, in the second half have accumulated so much depth. So while the Gong injury is huge because he's been such an impact player, it's not a death sentence for them because they have so many people that can fill in. They've got a bullpen that completely shuts you down most days. And now the fact that a 100-win team might have to face Jake Arrieta to get into the playoffs, essentially, is mind-blowing.
Right, and I still think the Cardinals are going to win the division. Yeah. But you guys are right. Their bullpen has had some issues. Their starting rotation simply has not been the same in September. And even though we thought Carlos Martinez might get shut down anyway, before he got hurt, they're 24-8 in games that he starts. This thought that we're not going to miss him in any way is ridiculous. That's how good that guy is. So they have some significant issues, but I still think they hang on.
And Martinez and Waka are probably their closest things to kind of that true ace that you match up. But both of the with Martinez going down and Waka has not been as strong down the stretch. It's a little dicey
Wainwright
now
coming back, but not as a starter.
Right. It's a little dicey right now for the Cardinals.
And
with no Yachty, too.
This game is about Molina as much as anybody else. That 9th inning is about Molina not being there.
We've seen Rosenthal start to lose it, and it just feels like Yachty reins the situation in and kind of works his way through it with him. Tonight he wasn't there. And again, that's not a knock on Tony Cruz because he's an excellent backup catcher. But it just, I think it speaks to Yachty being on a different planet than any other.
And they're waiting to find out just how significant this Yadier Molina injury is. There is no player more important to a team than he is to the Cardinals. So you won't see him tomorrow, but it will be the Cardinals and the Pirates. They'll be in Pittsburgh, the black and gold. What do you do with the Jolly Roger? Raise it! They're going to raise that bad boy at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Baseball tonight on at 5 tomorrow to get you set for it. American League wild card wide open. 4 teams all sniffing the second spot behind the New York Yankees. And it's going to happen. Game on ESPN between the Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Right now, Toronto and Chicago. There are no better settings for baseball. They're trying to take it all.
It all.
Today we're going to talk about trucks.
Works for me.
Which truck brand do you think offers best-in-class HD towing?
Ford. I would say the Ram.
Okay, let's move to the second door. Best V8 horsepower.
The Ram.
I say Ford on the V8. Chevy.
What about this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year?
Chevy.
What do you think?
A Ford.
The Ford?
There's no reason why they shouldn't be.
Let's see how you did. That's the Chevy Silverado HD, the Chevy Silverado, and the Chevy Colorado.
No way. Chevy.
Wow.
That's a clean sweep.
Joseph A. Bank presents Shoes Make the Man. Finish your look with a new pair of premium dress shoes. A new expanded collection with a variety of new brands and styles. Now available in stores and online. Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905.
I'm Sheldon Yellen, and I started my career rebuilding homes for one family at a time.
Today, our companies help build something more. For 28 years, Belfor has been restoring homes and businesses destroyed by fire, flood, or any disaster. And even though we've grown to over 6,000 dedicated people around the world, for me, it's still about helping one family or business at a time. At Belfor, we're restoring more than property.
See that guy over there? He's more than the fastest salami slicer in East Schenectady. He's a marketer. Sal built his community of deli lovers with constant contact email marketing. His professional emails show off his sandwich selection and his office catering menu. And Sal knows it works. Those customers didn't make Sal their go-to guy because he's full of baloney. Sal's a marketer. And all it took was Constant Contact. Try it free at ConstantContact.com.
The challenges facing the country never stop. So neither does the U.S. Army. We train, adapt, and get smarter. Every soldier, every unit, every day. Not to keep up with change, but to drive it. Nobody knows what problems tomorrow will bring, but we do know who will solve them.
There's only one way to get a gold PS4. And that is not it. Grab a Quesarito or Volcano Quesarito Big Box for your chance to win a limited edition gold PS4 bundle, only at Taco Bell.
Developing some of the highest quality nutrition isn't easy. So at GNC, why do we do it? Why do we work to deliver clinically studied products to fill the world's nutrition gaps? Why do we insist on the most stringent quality checks, period? Well, here's why. Celebrating 80 years of quality life and quality products. Now save big on some of the world's best nutritional products. When you buy one, you get one half off. Only at GNC.
They say the first million's the hardest.
Are you telling me you think one of these people is a terrorist?
You got some brass ones on you, don't you, son?
But I need to find the truth.
2 new ABC dramas that will get your heart pumping. Blood and Oil, followed by Quantico, starting tonight on ABC.
Residence Inn. It's not a room, it's a residence.
This is Baseball Tonight's Sunday Night Countdown. It's presented by Chevrolet. Find new roads in a park by the Quesarito and Volcano Quesarito Big Boxes. Grab them all at Taco Bell. We were there before the season started. It was chilly. We could very well be there in October, and it'll be hot because the Joe and Jake show is on tonight, Madden and Arrieta. Cubs and Pirates on
2-2.
ESPN.
This one's out towards center field. Towering shot, chasing Trout back. That ball's hit pretty good. And at the wall, Trout leaps up, and he got it! Oh, my! Are you serious?
He catches it! He catches it!
That might be one of the most amazing plays you will ever see at a baseball game.
What a crazy play by Mike Trout.
So, what do you do for an encore if you're Mike Trout? Climb the wall, climb a building, and make a catch. All right, bottom fifth. How about David Freese all of a sudden? Guys, this is postseason 07 all over again.
Last night was his first walk-off hit in a regular season. It was a home run, regular season, and he had another big day today.
Angels are up 2-1, top of the 8th. The Angels need this thing. Mark Trumbo. Go ahead and get it, Mike.
That's that 2-iron you used to see a lot.
Trumbo has quietly had a nice couple of months here with the Seattle Mariners.
All right, bottom of the 8th. Again, the Angels need this game. The Mariners, they're out. They don't. Cole Calhoun, that's clutch. Angels grab a 3-2 lead.
Calhoun's one of the guys capable of being an impact offensive player on this team. He hasn't played great offensively the last month or two. A huge hit in that spot for him and the Angels.
Houston Street, grade 1 groin strain, out the rest of the regular season, and Morin comes in and gets a save.
Yeah, he's been really good for a month. He's got great stuff. This is his first career save. We're going to see more of it him the next week.
That's a very, very big win for the Angels. They need it. Texas, Houston, they continue to battle each other. Slow roller to first. Look out, airmailed. And that pulls the runner safe. First baseman off the bag. Chris Carter rips City into left center.
This is something the Astros have desperately needed. Usually when they're good on offense, it's via the long ball or their athleticism. Today, in a big spot, a much-needed victory, they got big at-bats, and they got clutch hits and clutch at-bats, and that's what they've needed.
All right, so Perez rubbed the shoulder down. We can't have any more walks, and that's a clutch hit. Yesterday, they rallied with all sorts of home runs. Today, they do it small ball style. Carter comes in. Houston on top. Ugh. And this guy, Dallas Keuchel, just doesn't lose at home. Literally doesn't lose at home. Looking for his 15th win against no losses at home this year.
I mean, just the subtle movement he has late in the pitch, whether it's sinking, whether it's darting, whether it's the command of that breaking ball, the lateness and sharpness of the movements constantly have him off barrels, and especially in that ballpark.
And look at these numbers, and the only guy who's had an unbeaten season with more wins in a season was Bill Hoffer in '95. That's 1895. He was 20-0.
19
Hoffer?
No, he's not a Hoffer.
Oh. Is he a Bulldog? Because Oral Hershiser's on the list, and we all know Bulldog. That's what the AL West looks like. It is still tight. Texas's lead over the two chasers. 3 games in the loss column. Continue with that AL wildcard because both the Angels and the Astros are there. So's Minnesota, up 2-0 over Detroit. Hang 'em and bang 'em. Boy, that ball was up and it was weighted on and it was delivered into the corner by B. Doge, Brian Dozier. Suzuki and Byron Buxton are in. It's 4-0. Buxton's not done. Oh, about face.
First Major League home run for Byron Buxton. I think a few more are coming, but when he goes left to right in the outfield and runs balls down, that is breathtaking to watch.
Yeah,
What happens in baseball?
I said something if you could catch up to that fastball, and boy, did he ever, and watch the dugout.
Dude, the silent treatment, looking for anyone to hug.
Oh, that's why you were shooting.
Yeah, silent treatment. It works really well on TV. 7-1. Twinkies win it. The Fighting Frenchmen, the Fighting Franconas, 2-0. Oh, we got a catch. Do we have a double play? No. No tag, safe. Tagging from third and scoring.
And that looked like a really heads-up play by Francisco Lindor at the time.
They throw to third. Umpire says safe. And this is where the chaos begins for Ned Yost and everyone else. They had the catch, which was the second out. If they throw to first and Hosmer makes a tag, that's the third out. If you go to third base and he never tagged up, well, then that's an out. And if you look at Lindor, he never goes back to touch the base.
And I will say in Lindor's defense here, I think at home you'd be sitting there saying, why didn't you just go tag the bag? Well, when you're caught up in that situation and it's a line drive and they throw it to first and it kind of gets away, as a runner, you just kind of, you almost disregard the fact that it's a tag situation at that point, the way the play unfolded. But it was good to see them, even though it took a while, get this absolutely right.
They did get it right. Lindor had to go back and touch the base and then try to come home. He didn't. Double play. It ends with Cleveland losing. Over our shoulder, the American League wild card. Yankees are going to host it. You'll be able to see that game on ESPN. Question's going to be, who are they playing? And every day it feels like one team has a little bit more momentum than the other. Who's your edge go to now?
Man, I'll go with the Angels, but I think it's a bunch of really flawed teams battling it out for the second spot. The Angels have struggled in the rotation, have struggled offensively for much of the second half. You know, the Houston looks like they're starting to melt down a little, especially in the bullpen, which has been a strength of theirs all season.
And yet win 2 in a row.
And Minnesota, we keep just writing off, but they have some of the best young impact players that are actually having an impact in this thing. That loss by Cleveland today, who's the one team kind of still hanging around in the mix that I feel like could get into the postseason and actually make some noise because of their rotation and because of the shape of their team now, but they now appear out of it. I think it's just not a lot of good teams fighting for the second spot.
Houston played such a bad game on Friday night, and to come back and win twice against the Red Hot Rangers was really impressive. But now we'll see what they can do on the road, because they're a great home team. They're not very good on the road. They go to Seattle, Arizona to finish the season. If they win the wild card, they deserve it, because they're going to have to do it on the road, the place they don't do it very well.
Yep. All right, speaking of the wild card, speaking of that first game, American League wild card, it will be in New York. Who will they be facing, assuming the Yankees hang on? October 6th is where it starts, 8 p.m. on ESPN. It's followed by the National League wild card on Wednesday night, October 7th at 8 on TBS. You go to MLB.com/postseason, you'll get the full schedule. But it all starts on Tuesday the 6th, last day of the regular season, a week from today. And, of course, the Pirates and the Cubs will play in less than half an hour, and it does feel like Christmas has already come to Chicago. Best way to wrap it up for Theo Epstein and company will be a World Series.
The hunt for October, it's a grind. Something that you start to establish early and even early in the offseason. Start to think about it, start to prepare yourself.
To be in it at the end and to be able to compete for a playoff spot, because once you get to the playoffs, you never know what can happen.
That's the best time to play baseball, I would say. You know, it's a lot of adrenaline. That's the whole goal here. You just want to go all the way till the end.
Joseph A. Bank presents the new Traveler Collection, an expanded line of suits, sport coats, shirts, and more new styles. Wrinkle-resistant performance clothing to keep you looking professional. Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905.
Lunch?
What is that?
It's a wing ring. I ask it what kind of wings I should have, and it tells me.
I want to ask it a question.
I got like 2% battery.
You have battery in a ring?
All I know is like, no, you can't use it.
100% all-white meat boneless chicken wings in 6 delicious flavors. This is how you Sonic.
AT&T and DirecTV are now one, which means you can watch movies while you're on the move, sitcoms while you sit on those, and even Fargo in Fargo. Binge while you lose weight, and enjoy a good cliffhanger while you hang from a why am I yelling. The revolution will not only be televised, the revolution will be mobilized. Introducing the all-in-one plan, only from DirecTV and AT&T.
So Courtyard is the official hotel of Super Bowl 50. You're the marketing geniuses. What do you have planned? Wow, impressive.
It's even a little dangerous.
Yes. Skycam.
Every guest gets a highlight reel.
Highlight of what? Not gonna sugarcoat it. This one's not my favorite.
To see a great idea, go to Courtyard.com for your chance to wake up in the stadium on Super Bowl Sunday. Courtyard, official hotel of the NFL.
The ice is nice, but I miss the bubbles. Not the same without bubbles.
So why the Marines?
Go on there and take it!
Because this is the land that I love, the country I'm honored to serve.
Developing some of the highest quality nutrition isn't easy. So at GNC, why do we do it? Why do we work to deliver clinically studied products to fill the world's nutrition gaps? Why do we insist on the most stringent quality checks, period? Well, here's why. Celebrating 80 years of quality life and quality products. Now save big on some of the world's best nutritional products. When you buy one, you get one half off. Only at GNC.
This is Adam Jones, center fielder for the Baltimore Orioles. When he's not playing baseball, he's watching baseball.
Thought he got it. I ain't got it.
When he's not watching baseball,
Watch him run.
he's reading about baseball.
I'm going to nasty.
When he's not reading about baseball, he's listening to baseball.
I don't know how I would pitch that.
And when he's not listening to baseball, he's playing baseball. MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
This little guy's about to make his first deposit.
We'd like to open up a savings account for him.
Yes.
Great.
Thanks to Mom and Dad and their safe driving bonus check from Allstate.
Oh, look at this. Safe driving bonus. Are you a safe driver?
Lucky little fella.
Only Allstate gives you 2 safe driving bonus checks a year for driving safe. See how much more an Allstate agent can do for you. Call 877-644-3100.
Like in most families, Dad's always the last to know.
Oh.
That's why accident forgiveness was the first thing he asked for when he switched to Allstate.
Michael James?
Middle name. Not good.
Get accident forgiveness from Allstate and keep your rates from going up just because of an accident. Find out how a local Allstate agent can help better protect your family. Call one right now. Plus, drivers who switched saved an average of $446 a year.
Just a few more ways the good hands are doing more than ever before.
See what the personal service of an Allstate agent can do for you. Call 877-644-3100.
Welcome back to Baseball Tonight. It's presented by Chevrolet. How good are the Cubs and their fans feeling? It's like finding one of the great pens in a jacket you just never knew you had that pen in. You know what that's like?
It's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling.
We were there on opening night in Chicago.
We were there.
And remember what I told you.
What'd you
they
say?
win it all, we're not getting out of here alive. And I meant that in the nicest way. Those people were nuts about that team before the season started.
Way to go to Toronto.
Tremendous.
Yeah, just a very mere concept of not getting out of someplace alive. I mean,
It's a compliment.
It's a compliment. Interesting. Interesting play. What about if we're at Yankee Stadium and the Yankees are there again in October? This is Luis Severino. One of the reasons they might be Rob Brantley. 3-6. Severino, get over there.
So Tanaka, Pineda, Severino in a 5-game series. Is that how you see it lining up, Booney?
Well, they're going to have to play a wild card game.
Right.
So Tanaka gets bumped back if he's able to go.
So Severino could start game 2.
Sure, absolutely.
He's in a jam, but can't went out and talk to him. If we can get a double play, we'll be in good shape. Didi Gregorius, 6 innings, no earned runs. That's big. We need a Dustin Ackley home run to cap it off, and lo and behold, Dustin Ackley comes up.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he's gotten some hits, big hits for this team this year, but how he's used going forward in the coming years, does he become that first-round pick that the Mariners drafted in that ballpark? I think it's possible.
Yankees win. Now we go north of the border. That's where the Blue Jays are. Evan Longoria, Donaldson. Oh, what a play to get my man, Mikey Matu.
He's a great defensive third baseman, and this kind of intensity, Aaron, we've seen it all year, and now you're seeing it more down the stretch, and that's one reason that place is going crazy every night.
All right, bottom of the 8th, big hit here. Kevin Pillar high, and it is an RBI double.
Well, both these guys, Donaldson, Pillar, what struck me being there last week for all 3 games of the Yankee series was the athleticism and the defense Toronto can now put out there. Their all-around players are outstanding.
Bottom 9, 2 outs, 4-4. Ooh, ding-dong, pitch dead.
I think they're electing a new prime minister this year. Josh Donaldson, I think, officially threw his hat in the ring with that swing of the bat.
3rd walk-off this year, 7 the last 2 years.
He did throw his hat. Then he said this.
Having the best record, that's not really our first goal. Our first goal is to win the division. And if that comes along with having the best record in the AL, I think that's awesome. But, you know, we have our mindset and our goals in place, and I feel like we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, they do have the best record, along with, in a dead heat, the Kansas City Royals, 90 up, 65 down, and they hold the tiebreaker against them. Kansas City last year, huge home field advantage. As Aaron said, he was there a week ago. Toronto's home field, unbelievable. They lead the Yankees by 4, and you can see the remaining schedule. The Red Sox have been very, very difficult. They pitched 3 shutouts against the Orioles this weekend. Speaking of shutouts, this guy just looks like a shutout waiting to happen. Jake Arrieta is going to be on the mound at 20-6. That game comes up 20 minutes from now, and we will hear from the Cubs ace when we continue on Baseball Tonight.
Meet Sharon. She's not just someone who can make a Cancun vacation tax-deductible. She's a marketer. And all it took was Constant Contact. Sharon's emails and her fast fingers keep clients flocking back. Try it free at ConstantContact.com.
What do Rob Gronkowski, Russell Westbrook, and Giancarlo Stanton have in common? They all use 6-Star Whey Protein Plus from the makers of Muscle Tech, a trusted leader in sports nutrition for over 20 years. The pros trust and use 6-Star Whey Protein Plus because it works and tastes great.
Pennzoil is taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics at your local Walmart.
Joseph A. Bank presents Shoes Make the Man. Finish your look with a new pair of premium dress shoes. A new expanded collection with a variety of new brands and styles. Now available in stores and online. Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905.
The challenges facing the country never stop. So neither does the U.S. Army. We train, adapt, and get smarter. Every soldier, every unit, every day. Not to keep up with change, but to drive it. Nobody knows what problems tomorrow will bring, but we do know who will solve them.
There's only one way to get a gold PS4. And that is not it. Grab a Quesarito or Volcano Quesarito Big Box for your chance to win a limited edition gold PS4 bundle, only at Taco Bell.
The baseline pumps penetrate your face with no waste time. Move your body from your legs to your waistline. Pay no mind to no space and time. Gonna play all day into the street light. In the wild, it's give and take. Body feeling good like I think they should. Make a move, make a rise till it's understood. It's all right now. It's all good. Don't stop, y'all. To the beat drop. It's all right now.
Residence Inn. It's not a room. It's a residence.
Towering shot chasing Trout back. That ball's hit pretty good. And at the wall, Trout leaps up, and he got it! Oh, my! Are you serious?
That might be one of the most amazing plays you will ever see at a baseball game. The fans going crazy here. I didn't think he had a shot at that ball. Wow! Every day you come to the ballpark, you just think, what will Mike Trout do next? Well, that is one of the all-time plays.
I'm a committed conservative that believes in getting results.
We made Florida #1 in job creation. 1.3 million new jobs. 4.4% growth. Higher family income. 8 balanced budgets. And tax cuts 8 years in a row that saved our people and businesses $19 billion. And if I'm elected president, I'll show Congress how that's done.
Right to Rise USA is responsible for the content of this message.
Our greatness was not an accident. It didn't happen on its own. Our greatness is the result of God's blessings, the sacrifices made by men and women in uniform, and the choices made by the people here before us. God is still blessing America. If ever there has been an era in human history tailor-made for us as a people, it is the 21st century. What is standing in the way are outdated leaders that refuse to let go of the past.
Learn more at conservativesolutionsproject.com.
This is Baseball Tonight's Sunday Night Countdown. It's presented by Chevrolet. We're on ESPN2, the game on ESPN. Top of the hour, about 17 minutes from now.
But when you get to September and you know you're right in the hunt, right in the thick of things, you know, that's when you can really get a feel for it, and it's almost like you can grab it.
It's the drought, it's the hot streaks, it's the fact that it's 162 games and the best teams at the end are going to make it to the playoffs.
At that point, especially in Pittsburgh, it's already a playoff atmosphere.
It's a blast. That's why you play the game, so that you can be in the playoffs and enjoy those games leading up to the playoffs.
Ooh, a little artsy shot here before the Cubs and the Pirates on ESPN. That moon above Chicago. It's above a lot of places, but it really is above Chicago. Pittsburgh's lineup And you got a chance for 3 teams in the National League Central, 2 of which to win 100 games, and another one, the third-place team, the Chicago Cubs, they got a chance to finish with 90-plus wins.
So much versatility in this lineup now, so many options night in and night out for Clint Hurdle. Look at the top 3. The right field, left field, center field. Get used to seeing those 3 names for a long time in Pittsburgh.
And the Cubs lineup is very dangerous these days. They have 9 guys in on their team with 10 or more homers. First time in club history. 4 of those 9 are rookies. And you look at lineups like this, and seriously, fellas, where's the out here other than the pitcher? There is no out. This is their A lineup right here, and they can't do it any better than
what
this.
Madden does. So Russell's at second tonight, Castro's at short tonight.
Right, that's interesting. Buster should help us with that, because I'm not sure what's going on there. Castro has been so good offensively as a second baseman.
Joe got a little bored. Buster, to you.
Carl, Jake Arrieta is a workout monster. In fact, just a little while ago when he came out for his warm-ups, to the roar of the crowd, he dropped down and he was doing push-ups, something I've never done before. Well, in an extended conversation I had with him on Saturday, I asked him, how do you prepare on the day that you pitch?
You guys want to do...
You know, if my son Cooper's like, hey, Dad, you know, I want to go on a ride today. I'm like, all right. Like, you know, if I'm pitching that day or if I pitch the day before, you know, like I said, I don't need a super strict, you know, guideline for how I'm going to be successful. You know, if I feel like, you know, this might help or that might help, I'll try it. Or, you know, if I feel like just being laid back and going about my business, you know, in a way that isn't overly stressful. And, you know, our players' routines can sometimes be to a fault where, you know, if we don't have something exactly the way we need it, you know, maybe our mindset changes. So for me, man, it's if the kids want to do something, they want to be active, they want to go to the park on a start day. I love doing that kind of stuff because it relaxes me, it gets me ready for later that night when it's really time to strap it on.
It looks like you're either going to finish first or second for the National League Cy Young Award voting. What's this year been like for you?
It's been hard to reflect on, really. So many things happening so quickly. Our playoff race, the 2 teams ahead of us, you know, the no-hitter in LA, you know, winning the 20th game here the other day. Just a lot to process, you know, and it's almost like that day's over, the next day begins. It's like we got to turn the page and we got to move forward. We got games to win. We got a city that's electric as possible, you know, here in September at Wrigley Field. So it's been hard. It's been really hard to process a lot of it.
Tell me about the coolest anecdote you have from this season bumping into fans in this city, because you know how crazy this city is now about the Cubs.
I get stopped all the time, and I like it. You know, the support's tremendous. You know, my walk to the field here is maybe a half mile, and you know, people honking their horn, waving as they drive by, telling me I better beat Pittsburgh on October 7th. I mean, all these kind of things are what this game's about. You know, being able to play at this sort of level, being in a city that really gets it. This is a baseball city, especially this area of Wrigleyville. Everybody is so entrenched in what we're trying to do here as a team and as an organization. And it feels like we've got so many people that are supporting us and in it with us, and it means a lot.
Sometimes teams will hide a starter from a team that they may face in the postseason. You're facing the Pirates on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Was there any thought about, you know what, bypassing that so the Pirates don't get another look at you?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I was laying in bed talking to my wife last night, and I said, hey, I might go out there on Sunday and do some things completely different than the Pirates have ever seen me do. And, you know, she kind of laughed, and she was like, that might be a good idea, you know, to kind of hide some things for what the wild card game or whatever. But, you know, regardless of how many times a guy's seen you, if you execute the same pitches, you vary your sequences, you change speeds, you change eye levels. I mean, I don't care who's at the plate. It's if you're able to execute and do those sort of things that you intend to do before you go out there, then it's going to be tough regardless of how many at-bats a guy has against me.
This cannot be emphasized enough. What we're seeing out of Jake Arrieta after the All-Star break is one of the greatest performances by any pitcher in the history of baseball. He's generated a lot of interesting numbers, Carl. Here's my favorite. In the last 8 weeks, Jake Arrieta has allowed 4 earned runs.
End of statement. Last 8 weeks, 4 runs. We're not going to do the push-ups nor any of those things here as we take a look at our Chevrolet high-strength performance, the lowest ERA after the All-Star break, Arrieta. The other thing that you've got to remember about Jake is he was a sub-500 pitcher with the Orioles. Then he won 10 games with the Cubs last year, and now he is attempting to win his 21st game of the season. As that is our high-strength performance brought to you by Chevy Silverado. Great names are on that list. The names he's being mentioned with most this year are Kershaw and Greinke, and that has to do with the individual award, the Cy Young.
Yes, and I think Zach Greinke is still slightly ahead in the Cy Young voting just because his ERA has not been above 2 at any point the entire season. And as great as Jake Arrieta has been the second half, and if someone voted for Jake Arrieta, I'm not going to say you made a mistake. If I had to vote today, I would vote for Zach Greinke because Arrieta's ERA was 3.40 in the middle of June. Greinke's has been under 2 every day of the season.
I think like the Corey Kluber and Felix Hernandez race in the American League last year, I think it's literally going to come down to the final 2 starts. It really could. They're that close. I would agree with you. I think it's a slight edge right now to Zach Greinke and his consistent body of work the entire season, but that can change with one dominating outing or one faltering outing by the other guy. A great race. Same can be said, not as a dominant performance, but in the American League with Price and Keuchel coming down to the end.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of faltering. However, Jonathan Fisher, Fish can add. Fish?
Man, it's been great. His last 18 starts, he's allowed 14 earned runs. But to Tim's point, the whole season, Zach Greinke, 20 starts this year, allowing 1 run or fewer. The only guys in the last 100 years to do that more often in a season, Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Dean Chance, Grover Cleveland Alexander, and Babe Ruth.
Yeah. Anytime you throw out
I done heard of all those guys.
In the last 100 years, you got something special. We want to make a correction because accountability counts. We had seen that lineup earlier from the Chicago Cubs, and we brought up the point that Addison Russell was playing second base and Castro was at short. The real lineup just flew in, and wouldn't you know it, Starlin Castro was at second base and Addison Russell's at short.
I've been locked up for the last 10 minutes thinking, like, what is going on there? That is an interesting change-up, if any, that Joe Madden's pulling. Glad to see we got that correct.
We got it corrected. That's the lineup that the Pittsburgh Pirates will face tonight. That's the Chicago Cubs. As we continue here on Baseball Tonight, we still have the best defensive plays of the day. That means the web gems. We saw Trout yesterday. We saw another great catch today. You just saw a flash of it right there. We look forward to bringing you the best defensive plays as we continue. And, of course, it all starts with the American League Wild Card Tuesday night, October 6th, 8 Eastern, ESPN. NL Wild Card the next night, October 7th, TBS at 8 o'clock. Please go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. The game on ESPN starts in 6 minutes and 40-plus seconds.
Joseph A. Bank presents the new Traveler Collection, an expanded line of suits, sport coats, shirts, and more new styles. Wrinkle-resistant performance clothing to keep you looking professional. Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905.
Meet Sal. He's more than the fastest salami slicer in East Schenectady. He's a marketer. And all it took was constant contact. Sal's emails are easy to create and hard to resist. Try it free at ConstantContact.com.
Our town just stopped breathing when our school was broken. After the tornado hit, Belfort rolled into town and they quickly started fixing our school. They said, "Don't worry, we can fix this. We're gonna make this all better."
I made them a promise that their kids would be back on the first day of school.
5 months have passed and we're home.
At Belfort, we're restoring more than property.
This is perfect, celebrating our anniversary with a strawberry shortcake shake.
Wait, what anniversary?
Of coming here yesterday? You totally forgot.
No. Here, look, I got you something.
Oh my gosh, is it a watch?
Have your cake and drink it too. New ice cream cake, shakes, and cones. This is how you Sonic.
Courtyard is the official hotel of Super Bowl 50. So what have you got? That's the next level stuff right there.
NFL bistro chairs, huh?
No? Your order number is 2.
It's kind of cumbersome. I guess my question is why?
To see a great idea, go to Courtyard.com for your chance to wake up in the stadium on Super Bowl Sunday. Courtyard, official hotel of the NFL.
You don't hurt yourself.
Whoa, whoa.
So why the Marines?
Go out there and take it!
Because this is the land that I love, the country I'm honored to serve.
Developing some of the highest quality nutrition isn't easy. So at GNC, why do we do it? Why do we work to deliver clinically studied products to fill the world's nutrition gaps? Why do we insist on the most stringent quality checks, period? Well, here's why. Celebrating 80 years of quality life and quality products. Now save big on some of the world's best nutritional products. When you buy one, you get one half off. Only at GNC.
They say the first million's the hardest.
Are you telling me you think one of these people is a terrorist?
You got some brass ones on you, don't you, son?
But I need to find the truth.
2 new ABC dramas that will get your heart pumping. Blood and Oil, followed by Quantico, starting tonight on ABC.
Joseph A. Bank presents Shoes Make the Man. Finish your look with a new pair of premium dress shoes. A new expanded collection with a variety of new brands and styles. Now available in stores and online. Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905.
Baseball tonight's Sunday Night Countdown is presented by Chevrolet. Find new roads. SportsCenter follows us. Game on ESPN just a couple of minutes from now from Wrigley Field. All right, we got the Pirates and the Cubs tonight. We got Yankees, Red Sox Tuesday, Wednesday, Pirates, Cardinals, and all those have baseball tonight at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Double dip on Tuesday. After that Yankee Red Sox game, we head out west. Mike Trout, the Angels.
I'm on my way.
And Oakland. Aaron on his way to handle that one. It's a big week. It's a very big week. All right, to play with StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services. Yeah, it's a pretty good running catch. We got up almost up to 19 miles an hour.
Maybe shuck, a little ho-hum, nice efficiency, a little distance.
A road efficiency of 99%.
Oh, that was really good.
That's what Tim used to score on his tests in school. 99%.
He can really write.
He's a good writer. Really good writer. Chris Heisey starts off the Web Gems, number 5 for the Dodgers. Steven Piscotty had himself a homer today. He also did this.
Right. Booney, that outfield situation, not to mention first base for the Cardinals in the postseason, is going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
See who plays where, who hits where, who's on and who's off the roster. Steven Piscotty's got to be on the roster.
Good options, at least.
Yes, very good.
How about Josh Donaldson? He had that walk-off homer and a diving stab and tag
the Prime Minister.
It's not good for the Marlins, but Martin Prado from his knees. Oh, is that Justin Bour over there at first?
Yeah,
it is.
The whole board, whatever that is going on over there at first base, makes it even better.
That's the stop, drop, and Tommy Lasorda roll. Aaron Alter.
This is really good. You got a little stat cast on that because that looked awfully efficient, and he got there in a hurry and used all of that long body to lay out.
If it weren't for Mike Trout last night, that would be the Web Gem of the week.
Without question. Bud Trout last night. By the way, the Dodgers, you saw that Web Gem, they lost by a score of 12-5. And our good buddy, Mark Mulder there, screen left, number 20, throwing in a pitch, along with his former A's teammates, Tim Hudson and Barry Zito. Good moment for Mulder and the rest of those A's who are all part of the whole Moneyball deal. And they get their due today in Oakland. Pretty cool.
Very cool. I think Mulder should have got at least an inning in yesterday, though. He looks like he could still he could go out there for 3 outs.
I agree. How about the atmosphere in Toronto? What should we expect?
The great part about our job is covering these great games late in the season. Toronto's the best atmosphere I've seen in years, being up there all week. Can't wait to see them in the postseason.
Now, if it's about atmospheres, Toronto's great. St. Louis is always good. New York wants to be really good. Pittsburgh.
Cubs.
This place right here.
Buckle up.
Chicago. Game on ESPN. SportsCenter follows us right now.
Go shower it off.
Gotta go.